Each year, the food industry spends hundreds of millions of dollars on creating the most addictive foods possible and most appealing advertisement for it. Well, some people would say that no single chip would ruin your health, and that's true, but can you eat just one chip and not finish the whole bag after? Can you? Again, to be clear, carbs are not bad, it's water, but 200,000 people manage to poison themselves each year by just drinking too much water too quickly. And same applies to the sugars. They are not bad for you, but if you deliver them too quickly, your body doesn't have time or capacity to utilize the energy, and the pressure builds up, and the engine quietly suffers, and then one day it fails. But what if you would have a pressure gauge, something that would check on you in real time and could tell you when it's okay to finish the bag and when it's not? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Why, what, where, how, and then even try to install one of these magic devices into myself. Now, speaking about me, from the outset you'd think I would be the last person who needs to monitor blood sugar. I exercise daily, run, lift, eat a lot of veggies, sleep 8 hours. But then again, my blood pressure was lately a little bit high, some brain fog and sleepiness after lunch. Lipids not perfect. Am I getting too old or... So the other day I was listening to my favorite podcast and they were discussing that according to a recent study, only 12% of Americans actually metabolically fit. And I was like, am I in 12% or not? And you know, you want to hope for the best, but you should always expect the worst. So I decided to investigate. That's what you should do. And apparently you can do oral glucose test or GTT with insulin as one of the ways to check your metabolism, but that only gives you a slice of information in time and no specific guidance as to what to do with it. You can also prick your finger a couple times after each meal, which is much more informative, but it's kinda painful. Or, drum roll please, thanks to modern technology, you can have a continuous glucose monitor, which measures your blood each 15 minutes and uploads data to the phone. And that's the path I ultimately chose for myself. Except it's not that easy, of course, because CGM is a medical device and requires a prescription, typically limited to diabetics. But you know, if you have high fasting blood glucose, you can convince your doctor that it's a medical necessity. And spoiler alert, I was right. If you have any other signs of metabolic dysfunction, extra belly fat, low HDL, maybe high blood pressure, you can argue that you're already 1 or even 2 legs into prediabetes. Well, because you are. And monitoring blood sugar is the lowest hanging fruit to check and start actually fixing that. Also, if everything else fails, there are several companies out there that outfit athletes with CGMs, level 1 and NutriSense, There are 2 main players in the CGM market, Dexcom and Abbott. Dexcom is a little more precise and usually the main choice for the people who have serious medical conditions and have to take insulin, but it's quite expensive, like 10 times more expensive in our parts at least. And because I didn't want to take second mortgage just to run a few experiments, I went with Abbott Freestyle. In the ideal situation, to run the engine as smooth as possible, the blood sugar should stay as consistent as possible, like somewhere around 80, and that pressure spike after eating a meal, again optimally, should stay within 20 points if you don't want to rattle the system with sharp sugar gradients and avoid that massive slump after. That's what the average daily response looks like for the healthy people, and that's where we should aim for, or maybe even better if possible. So can you guess where I was on that map? Yeah, completely lost. Averaging over 100s and spiking into 170s and 80s with seemingly okay stuff like mashed potatoes or bananas, fruits, veggies. No wonder I felt crappy and sleepy on that roller coaster of seemingly healthy diet. What can be healthy for that guy might not be healthy for you because of the microbiome, muscle mass, genetics, you name it. Anyway, for me the first 2 weeks with the first sensor were like, holy crap, one moment after another. And I'll continue to pepper my channel with shorter episodes and tests. But if you take anything from this video, it's that you know nothing, okay? You don't know your state, you don't know your personal reaction to foods, to exercise, to stress, you just don't know. But it's super easy to get into the know. Let me show you how. Unpack. Disinfect. Ooh, that looks sharp. The first time you want to be a little more inside so you don't bump the doors. Also remember, when you sleep on your side, right, it's going to put some pressure. So I'll try to make it a little more inside. Ready? Go! And you know, I almost didn't feel it. kinda hits you a little bit after the fact. Like, what's there? A little bit of pressure. Well, check it out. So is it painful? No, not really, just a little bit of pressure. Just have to be really careful with the doors. But I'm going to apply a little bit of insurance. They sell special covers for CGMs, but they're a little bit expensive. This is very cheap, but you have to cut an opening. So it goes over this. Keep it in half, then one more, the center out. This is just like a second skin. I don't see nothing. Be back in a second. Alright, now I'm door proof. So I'm starting new round of discoveries and mental conditioning, because you might get pressure from advertisements or that unfinished bag, but this voice is much louder. In a couple of weeks I'm going to unplug myself and we'll discuss all the new discoveries, and if you have something to share, please do so. I'll be delighted to compare the notes. And check this if you're interested in other gadgets for longevity. Alright, stay tuned.